just want to comment on the fact that, when we were at the Chandbagh debates, every speaker from school started, "Am I audible?" If you remember. Well, I'm glad to say, HM doesn't need to ask the question. In fact, I just got 2 messages before I came from Cambridge Hall and from ONGC. They were clapping for his speech. Thank you so much. But all said and done, a very inspiring speech. Very, very inspiring. Thank you so much, HM. And your leadership, the way you conduct yourselves, the way you merge with the school, we are all grateful to you. Thank you so much. You would be noticing that we have a chair empty on the dais. A very close friend of mine, Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, member of the board, he passed away unfortunately in June this year. And I have no qualms in saying I loved him. I was very close to him. And I miss him. And that is the reason I've kept the chair empty in his memory. Please. I had the chance to talk to a lot of my batchmates and a lot of my friends because it's our 50th year. And they had one peculiar comment. They said the facilities are wonderful, top-notch, state-of-the-art. Thank you so much, HM, for allowing us to do that. But then the cynics in them said that, some people, some previous stakeholder says, we've got everything, but school doesn't have soul, doesn't have a soul. I was appalled. I wish the person had been there for the Chandbagh debates. That's where we saw the passion, the commitment, the love for our school. Not only that, if he had seen the play yesterday, where the school, the boys themselves wrote the script, directed, provided the music, and talked about their journey and how important it was to forge relationships, how important it was to support each other, how important it was to continue life with each other. Can anyone say that we don't have a soul? I hope you agree with me that if school today stands not only on its feet, but stands outstandingly, it is because we have soul, we have character, we are human beings. Thank you so much, my beloved students. Thank you so much. Our aim and hope in Doon School is very clear. We want a typical Doon School student to have an exemplary sense of values, the motivation to excel in academics and sports and co-curriculars, and above all, be a human being. I'm glad that we are doing it fruitfully. Thank you. But adjacent to that, I want to talk especially to the parents. We are now concerned about the mental well-being of our students. Let's face it, earlier on, because of social media being now available, earlier on we were quite insulated and cocooned from the outside world. Today we are not. We know exactly what is happening, and the stress and pressure on a student is tremendous. Despite that, the student grows, the student excels, the student betters himself. I was a very ordinary DOSCO, very ordinary student, hardly knew games. But I kept trying, endeavoring, and managed to do something in life, which I'm proud of. Because school taught me that you must do better than what you've done before. At the same time, me and the headmaster had a discussion regarding mental health. It is not something to be overlooked, and it is not something to be pushed under the carpet. And nor, I implore the parents, should you say, oh, my kid is fine. Every kid is fine. Everyone is fine. But the people in school, the pastoral, the teachers, the tutors, can make out when a student is faltering, not because of anything else, because the student feels some pressure, some stress, which elevates to a sort of certain depression. That is the time we catch the student and we talk to him and her. We merge with the student's thinking and we get the student out of a morass which he might get into. Please help us in pointing that out. I'm asking all the stakeholders, as well as parents. Do not shy away or be embarrassed. Because let me tell you very clearly, 60 to 65% of the students today have some sort of, I would call it mental health problems, but somewhere towards an equilibrium not being balanced. And we want to correct that. I am not going to talk about what the school achieves. The headmaster has been very clear about that. We have our centers of excellence, art, music, drama and theatre, creative writing and critical thinking, debating and public speaking, and now DS Moon. And that is where we want our students to go and find themselves. Academically, we are doing our best. Yes, we cannot compete with the day schools. I admit that, I confess, but we are doing our best. Because it's not holistic as a cliche. We want the student to enjoy school also. My beloved youngsters, the DNC formers, have made two requests to me. And it's very important. One, they implored me that keep your speech short, sir. And the other one, I marvel at their focus. They say, please do not be scared of your wife. So all I can assure them is that I will endeavor to seek permission from my wife not to be scared of her. And I will put in a good word that the students themselves said, allow me a bit of leverage where I can lead a life where I'm not completely in fear of her. Thank you so much, and I hope you had a wonderful 4 days.
Thank you, Mr. Bishnoi, for your very inspiring speech and listening to our DNC formers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our chief guest, who's sitting amidst us. I would briefly like to introduce him, with your permission, sir. Mr. Arun Puri is the founding chairman and editor-in-chief of the India Today Group, India's most respected and diversified media. The group publishes 10 magazines, including editions of leading international titles, its flagship, India Today, is the country's most influential news weekly and a benchmark for journalistic excellence. The group also operates 4 24-hour news channels, including the leading Hindi news channel and all over 60 robust digital, mobile and social media entities. The Hindi news channel Aaj Tak is the first news channel globally on YouTube to reach 50 million subscribers. An alumnus of the London School of Economics and a qualified chartered accountant from the UK, not to forget a DOSCO, Mr. Puri completed the Advanced Leadership Initiative Fellowship at Harvard University in 2024, joining a distinguished cohort of global change makers. He has served on the boards of several prestigious institutions, both in India and abroad. From 2009 to 2011, he was chairman of FIPP, that is the International Federation of Periodical Press, the first Asian to hold this position. A true pioneer, Mr. Puri has been instrumental in transforming Indian journalism. In recognition of his contribution, he was awarded the Padma Bhushan, one of India's highest civilian honors, by the President of India in 2001. The India Today Group began with the launch of India Today magazine 5 decades ago. Known for its integrity, credibility, and independence, the group has since evolved into India's first AI news anchor called Sana. Mr. Arun Puri remains the driving force behind this institution, upholding its founding values and ever-changing media landscape, which he owes it to the school. Let's join our hands to welcome our chief guest and our old DOSCO, Mr. Arun Puri.
You're a very difficult act to follow, sir, but I'll try. Parents, alumni, students, it's a profound honor to return to the school as your chief guest on Founders Day. To me, it is not just a ceremony, it is a homecoming. These grounds hold memories of mischief, of friendship, of mistakes, and of lessons that have shaped my life. When I first got the invitation to be the chief guest, I must confess I was a bit surprised, for I was not exactly a model student. In fact, I had the unique record in my batch of holding a yellow card, a blue card, and a red card all at once. That's not the end. I nearly got expelled in my final year. After a midterm break misadventure, we were supposed to be trekking in the Shivaliks. But thanks to a batchmate of mine, the son of the Maharaja Patiala, we ended up at his palace in Patiala. We were seniors, so we were allowed to go without a teacher. We arrived at this amazing palace in the morning, and after a lavish lunch, just lounging around, dare I say, chugging some beer. And this scene I will never forget. One of the boys comes in and says, in typical DOSCO language, "We've been caught, yaar." Apparently the Maharani promptly called the headmaster, Mr. J.K. Martin, and asked him, "Are there any holidays? What are these boys doing here?" He told her to send them right back. On our return, we were threatened with expulsion. In the end, I think we were spared because it was our last year. And he was a kind man, though he did inform our parents. And you can imagine the rest. From this escapade, I learned one of the most important lessons of my life. Trust is the hardest to earn, but once lost, it is a challenge to restore. Sir, and Anu, sir, I think if you'd known all this, maybe you would not have invited me. Sorry, it's a bit late, I'm here. But I must thank you for making me school captain in the school of 85J yesterday evening. Some consolation after 65 years. I didn't even make prefect. My other claim to fame came later. That was when the late Rajiv Gandhi became Prime Minister. He was my classmate. At the time, he was the grandson of the illustrious Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I must say, none of us, or the faculty, paid any special attention to him. He was treated like everyone else. This is the school's greatness. No VIP culture, that's the way it should be, and I see that what the headmaster says, it is the same right now. And congratulations for that, sir. I last came to school to celebrate the 25th year of my class in 1985. I must say, I walked around the school. I am bowled over by the school, how the school has upgraded its infrastructure and the facilities the students enjoy. I feel like coming back to school. I presume the teaching curriculum has also kept up with the times. If I may add my two-penny bit, the way India is going, I think you must make your boys fluent in Hindi, totally bilingual. It's going to hold them good instead in future. Boys, you are the internet generation with the world of knowledge at your fingertips. And after hearing the brilliant debates last evening, I think you guys are much smarter than me. So it is pointless for me to give you any gyan as is customary of a chief guest. Let me tell you a little bit about my life's journey. Maybe you'll find something useful in that. Of course, everybody's life journey is different. My life has been a series of coincidences and destiny, or you might just call it dumb luck. I was one of those kids who from the moment, and I was not one of those kids, who from the moment they were born and said, I want to be a doctor or an engineer. That was the respectable choices of my time. Perhaps today all you kids want to do is to launch a startup. Those days in the 60s, in India, socialism was in full bloom. Income tax was as high as 97.5%. There was gift tax, there was wealth tax, and there was estate tax. And nationalization of enterprises was a mantra of the day. My father sincerely believed that India would soon become a communist country. I was hopeless in the sciences, so medicine or engineering was out of the question. So he said to me, you must have a profession. Perhaps I think you should become a chartered accountant. Even the communists will need an accountant. Those are the days when we listened to our parents. So at the age of 16, I was after school, I was shipped off to London to do A-levels to get into the London School of Economics. The Doon School must have done good to me because I got in. It was not easy. I had to get triple A's in my A-levels. So thanks to the school, I did it. I got into LSE and then later became a qualified chartered accountant. Then I worked as an auditor in the UK for a few years. During my days at the LSE, I became interested in news and current affairs. And I realized that was my true passion, as I devoured the incredible variety of British newspapers and magazines. I hated accountancy, but the thought of becoming a journalist or being in the media was not an option, as I'm not trained for it. When I returned to India, frustrated, I discovered that my father had started a printing company in partnership with a gentleman called Lord Roy Thompson, then one of the world's most prominent newspaper owners, barons. My dad was not in printing business, he was in film financing. But a chance meeting with Roy Thompson created Thompson Press. I joined the business utterly clueless about printing, but I learned on the job. After a few years, I was running the company and soon realized that the only way it could have sustainable profits was to have its own work. That's how I got into publishing and media. So now you see how dumb luck works? At the age of 30, I found my final calling, journalism. I just loved it. With news every day, every hour, every minute is different. It was exciting and intellectually challenging. Even my training as an accountant helped me in journalism. And I've worked with some of the finest editors in India. And my strength was questioning. Auditing taught me to probe until I got to the truth. I also brought the perspective of the ordinary reader. The fact that I was boss helped. Now that's the great moment in life when you discover the passion, the work you would do even if you weren't paid for. That is passion. Go for it. Find it quickly. And somehow you'll find you earn a living with it. But I can assure you, you'll be a very happy person. The Indian Today magazine, which most people associate me with, was born in failure. It was first conceived as a magazine for the Indians living abroad, but distribution was problematic. After a year, we abandoned the idea and released it in India instead. And then it just took off. The rest is history. The lesson here is that we learn from our failures more than from our successes. I believe being the victim of your own successes is one of the biggest failures in anybody. It breeds complacency and stagnation. It has always been my motto to look for the next best thing. As you heard, Indian Today magazine completes its 50th year at the end of this year. It has been the fountainhead of what is successes and failures followed in the Indian Today group. You heard some of them just now. So let me give you some kind of guiding principles or the things I followed during my life. The first one, I think, which has been emphasized in the school, is integrity. It has to be the cornerstone of everything you do. And being in media, integrity delivers credibility. And that is its most valuable currency. Number two, relentless curiosity. Be a permanent student. Stay hungry for knowledge. To tell you, I practice what I preach. You just heard, at this ripe old age of 80, I went to Harvard for 1 year, lived in a hotel, attended all the courses I wanted to. It was that kind of program. It was one of the most memorable years of my life. Number three, courage to fail. I've had many failures. I started a newspaper called Mail Today. It failed. A city news channel called Delhi Aaj Tak failed. E-commerce, Bag It Today, retail business, education portal, and so on. But the failure is not the end. It's but a learning. In this case, for me, it was stick to your core competence. The other thing I've done in business is follow the principle of follow the money. In my business, when advertising was shifting to TV, we started TV channels. And now it's moving to digital, and so we are in it in a big way. Number 5, look for the next big thing. In India, we are fortunate to be able to go to the future and come back. By this I mean, when you see the trends happening in the developed countries, they sooner or later will come to India. And I've benefited from this. However, the timeline now is becoming shorter. Number 6, as you must have heard in the debate, embrace technology. Since my Thomson Press days, I always believed in taking on new technology as fast as you can. And you heard how we've launched India's only, or even the world's, AI anchor called Sana. She looks very good if nobody has seen her. People want to date her too, by the way. And she's growing in capability every day. Number 7, humility in success. No matter how big the magazine or channel is, remember it is a collective effort. It has been the India Today Group's philosophy from the start that no editor is bigger than its publication. No anchor is bigger than the channel. And I've worked with some of the most brilliant journalists. But the channels and the publications are always the real stars. The effort is to build institutions. Men age, institutions don't. Number 8, my media mantra, which I've followed. Produce great content, and even applies to the digital world now. Produce great content and the money will follow. I've spent my whole life in editorial. I've never sold an ad in my life, which is the lifeblood of the media industry. It is essential to, if you want to keep it independent, insulate your editorial from commerce. Number 9 is service, and Headmasters talked about it a lot. I'm lucky I am in a business which I believe is a noble profession because it carries a social responsibility. Journalism has to be free of fear and favor, to be fair and independent. Because democracy survives only when citizens have the truth. Number 10, the last one, dignity. And I've heard this also here in the Headmaster's speech and during my visit here. Always maintain your dignity and be graceful in your actions and behavior. Fortunes can be made and unmade, but reputations, once damaged, remain so. So although they are 10, they are not commandments. They're only beacons, but they have served me well. As I stand here in Chandbagh, let me tell all you boys, this is the best time of your life. Savor it. The school gave me resilience, curiosity, and the courage to stumble until I found my path. May you too carry these values with pride. Let them not be weights that drag you down, but wings that help you soar. Be restless. Be explorers, fearless in failure, faithful in trust, and generous in service. You, my dear boys, are a fortunate generation, born in a time of affluence and unprecedented technological change in a super interconnected world. When you are ready to leave this school, remember the world is your oyster. Go and conquer it. But come back. Believe me, there's no better country in the world than India. Thank you for watching. Thank you again, sir, for inviting me. I'm really honored, and happy Founders Day to all of you in 2025. Thank you.
Aristocracy of service. Have pride in what service you do to the school, and this is one of them. Thank you so much, AV Squad. We are the invisible servicemen who are acknowledged only by the people who experience them. This is Chandbag for you. Well, next, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very important item in the agenda, and that is the release of our yearbook. May I request our chief guest and our chairman to please come forward, and also ask our school captain to walk up, please, and we will request the book to be brought here and release it today. Thank you.